folks, I'm going to get down on the floor. You are free to do the same. Starting in what we're calling constructive rest. And this is just a chance for you to accept the support of the floor. Notice what parts of your body are in contact with whatever you're lying down on. So what's the weight in the hips? What specifically in the hips is connected to the floor? What specifically in the ribs is connected to the floor? What's that weight like compared to the weight of the hips? How heavy is your head? And where exactly is that in contact with your lying surface? And then how about the feet? How far away are they from each other, from your butt? How are they weighted? Where on each specific foot? Is there more weight on one foot than on the other? And throughout all this, if something feels like it needs to move, well, move it. Then check in with your arms. How are they doing? Where do you feel the connection with the lying surface? And then where are the spaces, right? So do you have a giant curve in your lower back? Does it go halfway up your ribs? How about your neck? Are your shoulders way up off the floor? And if there's anything you can let go of so that it's easier to be in contact with the floor, yeah, go for it. If you are in a position, by the way, where you're at your office and lying down on the floor is not an option unless you want everybody to come running like there's a problem, you can do this sitting in your chair. Just notice what you're sitting against and what you're sitting on. And then take a moment to scan for what are the sensations. Where are you feeling pain? What's your energy level like? Where are you feeling stiff? Where are you very relaxed? Any sensation counts. There's no wrong answers here. What's your general energy level like? If you just got down on the floor and you discovered I ain't getting up again, how's that? And then take a few breaths. If you can, try not to make your breath do a thing. Just watch yourself breathe in and out. Feel yourself breathe in and out. Experience yourself breathing in and out. Let each breath be whatever it is at this moment. And then move a little bit and roll yourself over so you can come on up. If you'd rather sit, you can sit. I'm going to stand because I'd rather be on my feet. I'm just going to hang on my bones here and roll shoulders. Just get them moving. Notice that your neck muscles are doing a bunch of stuff here. And you can watch your collarbones or experience your collarbones. You can experience the shoulder rolls from out here at the top of your arm bones. You can also experience them from whatever's going on in your shoulder blades back there. And then change directions. So this just loosens up some stuff in the upper back and chest, in the neck, in the side ribs. All of this can get kind of gummed up and glued together. And we're just looking to get a little mobility going. I'm going to back up to where I've got a corner over here. And if you've got a wall that you want to stand against, go for it. If you've got a corner, I like that even better because it allows us just to check our alignment, whether our bones line up well to hold us up. And if you've got none of those things, you don't need them. Just do what you can. See if you can get your weight onto your heels and see if you can get your weight even on both feet. So if you've backed up to a corner, you want that corner going right in the middle at your hips. So it'll split the difference on whatever rounded stuff you've got back there. We don't want to create big arches, right? So now we've got a different surface and gravity's acting really differently here. But you can kind of compare what are the places that are in contact with whatever this is behind you to what was going on when you were on the floor. I'm just going to hang out here and breathe for a bit while I feel what's going on. I'm also letting go of anything that feels like it's tight, especially in the hips. That might be pulling my knees forward, keeping me from being on my heels. That can happen down in your ankles. It can happen really anywhere in the body. We've got plenty of places where we like to pull tension and keep it there. Lower back is a favorite spot, which can create a big arch, which can create a big lift in the rib not allowing it to just settle down. When I'm stacking up bones, I'm looking to let the bones carry the weight of my body, so my muscles are doing less. My muscles can do the movement part of things. And you can think Tinker Toys, erector sets, whatever was your happy version of lining things up and stacking things up. Then I'm going to leave my rib cage connected, and I'm able to get the back of my head on this surface, which means that, yay, things are pretty free, and I'm able to really stack up. But I'm going to keep my upper ribs connected with that surface as I let my head hang forward, because the back of the neck tends to get really tight. And then because the sides of the neck also still tend to get really tight, I'm going to start moving my chin back and forth along my collarbones. And again, I just invite you to do some version of the same. None of this should hurt. If you feel uncomfortable, stop. Don't do that thing. Not every movement is for every person. So if this feels okay, just letting the chin gently swing back and forth, you can try making some circles with your chin. When you get to the point where you're lifting your chin to the ceiling, if you are still against a thing, it is going to get in the way. So I'm going to step forward because I want to be able to move. You may hear a lot of Rice Krispie sounds. If that happens over and over and over, that's not such a great thing. If it hurts, it's definitely not a great thing. Go back to the stop thing. I'm changing direction again. You can as well. If it feels good to keep going in one direction, sure. We don't mind the stuff that feels good, right? We're just looking, your neck isn't necessarily designed to make circles, but as long as you're able to do this in a gentle, controlled fashion, you're getting to all the fabric around those neck bones. So let's do a little bit of quick kind of power standing. The most basic wide leg standing pose in yoga is Padasana. So this is not a wide leg standing pose, right? You can jump, you can step, you can scramble your legs out there. We're going for feet that are parallel if you look at the outside edges of your feet, and we still want weight on the heels. So you decide how wide your legs are going to be here. You don't have to look like me. If you want your legs just a little wider than shoulder distance, that's all good. You want to be able to keep the outside edges of the feet down. That's important. So as you stand here, you've kind of got a center of gravity. And you can, and if you like working with an energetics, rock and roll. You can think of this as an energy center. But you're going to take a gentle pressure down that kind of spirals in the legs through the inner thighs and then around to the outer calf and outer edge of the sole of the foot. Ah, I cannot tell you how good this feels at the moment. Just a simple standing here. So as you press down on your legs, your spine is going to try and go upward more. Let it. And if you don't feel that happening, don't worry about it. We're going to take the arms out, but if you ever remember seeing those dolls that you hung on the door and then you pulled the strings and their arms would go out, you want to attach those sort of strings to your shoulder blades. So your shoulder blades go down your back and your arms lift. Palms facing the floor is probably the most classic version of your Padasana. Your fingers are gently spread. Good, I was just kind of hanging out on gravity. And see if you can connect your fingertips all the way back through the torso into that energy center that's roughly around your navel. So that kind of center of gravity. And you're extending like a starfish out through the legs, out through the arms, out through the spine. And it's very gentle extension, but very persistent. As if you were gently reaching to both sides of your room, as if you were pressing the floor away and reaching your head up toward the ceiling. Take one more deep breath here. And then get your feet back underneath you, whatever way feels like it's possible. That might not have been your particular way, that's okay. We're going to take feet out wide again.
So this is a thing that you can, all of these you can modify. Sit in a chair and sit with your legs wide, sit your butt back. I'm going pretty low, and I'm going to be comfortable putting my hands on the floor. You can put stuff in front of you. If you like yoga props, you can go for blocks, you can go for a chair. And once you're down here in a place where your knees are not complaining, you're just going to go back and forth. We're getting into these inner thighs, and we're getting into them in an active way. Again, we would like to have a width between the feet so that the outside edges of the feet can stay firm and secure on the floor, so that most of the weight is in your heels. You know, you could lift your toes up, not the front of your foot, that's a different thing. And we're just shifting back and forth. Keep your butt low. So this is, you're moving kind of through a squat here, right? We're waking up an awful lot in the leg muscles. This is the most strenuous thing you will be doing. When I said basic, I really meant basic. And then come on up onto your legs. If they've been really wide and you can't jump in from there, play your scooch the feet-in game. Because we're going to head back down to the floor if you can. You can do this again, sitting in a chair. This mat, by the way, was just so that my feet don't go sliding wide. Sticky mats, not required. So, let's come back to constructive rest. Take your, well, you choose the leg. I'm going to use my left knee. If you have knee problems, you want to hold on behind the thigh. I do not at the moment. Lengthen your other leg along the floor and lengthen it far enough so that you can get the back of the thigh pretty close to the floor, maybe even on the floor. And then just gently cozy that knee in toward your torso. Point the knee more at your nose than at your shoulder. A really fun game to play if you like is to pull the leg in as you exhale, and that may flatten and round your back a little bit. Notice if it pulls your thigh up. Doesn't mean you have to do anything about it, it's just useful information. And then as you breathe in, you may decide that you need to let go because you need the room in order to breathe. But I will remind you, in case you didn't know, I'm telling you something new. Your ribs spread sideways. They also spread a little bit backwards. So although this thigh is in the way of your abdomen there, you can breathe into your lungs, which will then push your abdominal organs deeper into your abdomen or a little bit forward. You can still breathe that deep even with the leg in close. And then change legs. So again, one leg is long on the floor and we've pulled it long enough that you let your hips tip, right? So that'll change the curve in your back. You want to see if you can get that thigh on the floor. The answer might be no. And in yoga, you don't get to beat yourself up for the things you can't do. You just be where you are and go from there. So we're letting go of butt muscles here, which go in the obvious thing behind you, but some of you are unaware that they also come around to the side. They connect in to a kind of a bump that you feel on the top of your thigh bone here. It's called your greater trochanter, if you care. If you never remember that word again, you will still have one. And again, you can draw the thigh in more deeply, and that'll change the shape of your back so you can keep that thigh still on the floor. There are a whole lot of alignment things that we can be playing with. Those of you who know about square and level hips or square and level pelvis, keep that in mind. What's more important, as long as you're doing simple things that are unlikely to hurt you, and if you're feeling pain, you're probably hurting yourself. Doing anything is better than thinking that you can't do something until you can do it right. No, there is no substitute for a live, in-person yoga teacher. But if this is the best you can do in your life for now, yeah, do that. And then come on back to constructive rest.
And take a moment here just to breathe and notice whether you feel you're in contact with your lying surface in a different way or your sitting surface. Notice if you have different sensations now in your body. Now we're going to do one more thing. So rolling to come on up. If you have zero props, you can whine and complain, but it won't make any difference in terms of what you can do. I'm just going to put my feet against the back bar of this chair to keep it from coming too close to me. And I'm going to use 2 bolsters because I'm not sure where, well, maybe just 1. I'm looking to hold on to the chair. My knees are extended. Your knees may not be able to be extended unless you're sitting back this way, right? Hamstrings are a thing. I'm thinking of widening my bottom. Think J-Lo or any of those folks. And then I'm just going to reach over the top of the chair. Here's why I think I need my second bolster. Because I don't want to put a lot of weight on my back, and I want my head to be supported because my head is heavy. And I don't want my chin to be supported. I want my forehead to be supported. So we're not looking to get a really deep forward fold. We are looking to get a stretch at the back of our legs. Gentle stretch, right? When you're stretching, you go to the edge of the pull. So where you start to feel the pull, the front edge, the resistance to the stretch. And you hang out right on that front edge. And if you're having to make pain face, or if you're having trouble breathing, you have gone too far. Gentle stretch in the back. If you feel a lot of stretch in the back, this is one of those things where not every exercise is for everybody. Some of us have stuff that we're dealing with in terms of back pain. And this would be a posture to avoid if you live in that world. So eventually this becomes Paschimottanasana, or maybe it already is for you. We're just stretching the back of the body. Pascha is west, front of the body would be Purusha, and that's when you're facing the sun in a sun salutation at sunrise. So east is the front of the body, west is the back of the body. And yes, everybody focuses on the back of the thighs, but can you get a nice length from those bones that you're sitting on all the way up your back through the arms? And then come on up. So now is a good time to, if you have a moment, sit still and just be who you are. And if you don't have a moment, good for you for finding a few moments to do this. Go have a good rest of your day. I'm going to turn this off and spend a little bit of time lying on my back in Shavasana. Again, you can do whatever works for you at this point. Thanks for joining.